Bears and the 49ers. A shootout in the overtime.
Shootout.
Well, I mean, they score the same amount of points every quarter. It seemed like every time anybody
Okay.
scored, they rebutted with it like immediately. So I guess in a way, I mean, it was a pretty slow moving shootout, but it happened.
Jay Cutler got it.
Yeah, he did. Uh, and Jay Cutler,
Blaine Gabbert ran one in too. That was. He said, "We don't need Kaepernick. I got this shit."
pretty much. Well, honestly, what
Well,
they've been winning games more with Blaine Gabbert anyway, so I think he's
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
solidifying that they don't need uh, Colin Kaepernick. I mean, that's hard to say
The
because
49ers did say they were open to keeping him, though, so I'm not sure how that's going to play out yet.
you know what, realistically though, that's hard to say. Hypothetically, if Colin Kaepernick was still playing, who's not to say they would have the same record that they have right now? Like realistically. Now, I will say this about the
He was
49ers.
playing pretty bad.
He was playing pretty bad. Although, did you see the statistics sheet back in week 8 that as much as everybody shits on Colin Kaepernick, that he actually has better stats than Cam Newton did?
He did at that point. I mean,
Maybe
obviously,
it was like
it's
week
that way.
6. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because everyone's talking about Cam Newton for MVP back then, and
Yeah,
I'm assuming his stats have gotten significantly stronger. And
right.
plus that the team and Kaepernick haven't been playing, so they don't have the same stats anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone was shitting on Kaepernick and praising Newton, and they had basically the same stats, which is I don't think Kaepernick was playing that terribly bad. It was just the team too,
I think the
and
difference is Kaepernick makes bad decisions and Cam Newton makes less bad decisions. Stats
yeah,
overall might be
yeah.
pretty much the same, but when it comes to crunch time, Kaepernick doesn't make good decisions under
And who
pressure.
else had decision?
Who?
Jake Cutler.
Well, yeah, very true.
Just bringing it full circle, man.
Yeah. That's very true, and it's weird that this is the same team that looked very good against the Packers and didn't look good against the 49ers, or at least not as good or anything. But honestly, that's kind of been the Bears' whole season. And I know they have Matt Forte back, and now they're kind of splitting carries with Jeremy Langford, which, by the way, Jeremy Langford did phenomenal in Matt Forte's place when he was out. And
Yeah, they definitely have a future with Langford there.
I mean, he's a rookie too, so they got a big, bright future with
Yeah,
Langford. But I'm just saying, you would think that if they're splitting carries, that there would be such a great 1-2 punch between them, and it didn't really seem to matter this game. I mean, sort of. They did okay. They did. I can't say they did necessarily bad, but not like as explosive as I guess I expected them to look.
I think a lot of it is just the 49ers are playing a little bit better than they were too. This isn't quite the same team we saw fumbling around through the midseason.
This isn't the
They're getting a
same
little bit
team
better.
at all from the beginning of the season because okay, the obvious choices you got Blaine Gabbert instead of Colin Kaepernick, obviously, but then you
Right.
also they were putting a lot of faith in that Jared Hayne, the rugby player, dropped him.
Right.
No, he didn't pan out. Their defense is playing much better. Also, in the beginning of the season, they had 9 captains on their offensive line or their offensive starters and everything.
What's
Nine
the phrase?
captains.
Too many Chiefs, not enough Indians.
Yeah, or too many cooks in the kitchen. Either way you want to go at it. I'm just saying they changed a lot in their team to make it better. But here's the thing: they made it a lot to make it better, but they're still not a good team. They're just not
Uh,
the worst
well,
team in football
neither one
anymore.
of these teams are good. Neither one of them are
Yeah,
awful. They're both mediocre.
yeah.
And the 49ers showed they're a little less mediocre
As of right now, like if
as
these
as
teams,
of this week. Yeah.
I think if these teams were to play each other, maybe in like week 3 instead of week 13, Bears probably would have had the upper hand.
I would think so.
But that's the way the season changes. That's what kind of makes football really interesting of how these teams can evolve and both have in their different ways. And 49ers just came up with a better upper hand. Although it did go into overtime, so in my opinion, I feel any game that goes into overtime that those teams are pretty damn equal, and that's kind of up in the air who's going to take the win then.
Yeah, I mean they're probably both going to be kind of mid-tier draft picks. You know,
Yeah,
this game was what it was, man. It was an okay game, not too bad. I mean, it wasn't too sloppy. It wasn't. There was nothing elite about it though. Blaine Gabbert may be the high point of this. His performance was pretty impressive.
right. Yeah.
So, the 49ers, if they're going to work with him, if that's their starter going forward, he's looking pretty good. I don't know, like I said earlier, I don't know how that's going to pan out. I don't know what their plans are.
You know what
But,
they should do? I think 49ers should keep Blaine Gabbert in for
yeah,
next year. I think he should be their starting quarterback for next year and really try to build that team around him because he seemed to develop pretty comfortable in there very fast, which is like
yeah.
exactly what they needed. But what they should do is trade Kaepernick to a team that's really desperate for a backup quarterback and get a really good trade out of it.
Well, I think the rest of this season is essentially going to be a tryout for that.
Yeah.
Depending on if he pans out well the rest of the season, I think he'll have earned the starting spot. There's still plenty of time for him to screw it up. So,
That is a good point. That's a very good point. But I don't really necessarily want to give up on Kaepernick. I mean, I've shit on him this year, and I think everybody's
yeah,
shit on him this year. But I still believe if Kaepernick was a backup to a good quarterback, so I'm talking if he's a backup to someone like an Andrew Luck, because I mean Hasselback's 40. You can't imagine that he
right,
might not be here next year. I mean that's not
right.
outrageous to say by any means. So the
Uh,
Colts, you get rid of Matt Hasselback. Like, he decides to retire after this year. You put Colin Kaepernick, underneath Andrew Luck, which is kind of ironic because they were both rookies of the same year, so they're the same age and everything. But Luck obviously has taken his role of
sure,
being a
sure.
good, solid, starter. But I'm just saying, any team that Kaepernick could go on to and learn some things as a backup, and just like sit down and be like, okay, this is why
He
he's
needs,
doing this,
yeah,
and like gets like all of this, I guess, just lessons. I guess is the best word I
he
can
needs
think of.
time to develop in the pocket.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
He
the
needs time to
bottom line.
develop, and he needs time. He needs to just sit down on the bench, and like he
Yeah.
needs to sit down, like to be part of the play calling and part of the decision. But for someone to sit down and be like, "Well, this is what he's doing, and this is why." And if you were in this situation, this is what you should do. And I don't think he's ever had that since he's joined the league at all. Like he kind of just got thrown in there,
Well,
and just it's like, well, okay, well, do your thing, and he's developed bad habits because of it. And I think he needs to go on a team where he can sit down on the bench and get rid of those bad habits. And I'm still kind of confident that there's a good quarterback in him. I really do.
you know what? I'm glad that you found something to talk about for this video because I'm gonna let you in on a little secret.
Okay.
I was pretty checked out for this one.
Well, yeah, I
Uh,
guess I'm glad I
uh,
found something to talk about too. Although
uh,
we are a little off topic. Although we're talking about Kaepernick and the 49ers,
oh,
so
it's
it's not.
on topic. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's time to wrap this one up.
Yeah, I think it's time to wrap it up because you know what? There's not much to say about this. I mean, it was a good game. It was.
Yeah,
But in the long run, it didn't really matter.
that, no, it doesn't.
At week 13 in the season, neither one of these teams have a winning record. You don't even have a potential shot of being a wild card. Sorry, man.
Nope.
Both teams, you don't have much.
Better luck next year. I know how it feels.
There you go.
There you go.
So on top of that, if you would like to let us know what you feel on the video, you can leave us a comment. You also have Facebook and Twitter. There's links in the description below. We would love for you guys to follow us. And I don't know. You know what? I'll say it to close this out. At one point, I think it was back in week 2, I said the Bears were going to be the worst team in the NFL this year. I mean, they're not great, but they're not the worst team.
You were wrong.
I was wrong. I was.
Yeah, you were.
The Bears beat the Packers, so they're definitely not the worst team.
The Packers are. Boom! Sorry, I know you're